No, see, there you went wrong already. Chris, you went wrong already. If you know your scripture, Chris, if you know your scripture, you and I are not made in the image of God. We are made in the image of Adam. Adam was made in the image of God, and then we were made in the image of Adam. Therefore, that's why in Christianity, we are born of sin because we are the sin of Adam. And so, hence, truly, we are actually a thumbprint of God. Go on.
Well, I could argue with you there also.
No, you couldn't. But go on with your thought. Go ahead. I'll indulge you.
Okay. Well, if you follow this theory that, yes, we're living under Adam's sin currently, but we're still humans created in God's image, which it does not mean God's physical image, but rather his mind, his spirit, his soul, his moral attributes.
All right.
More or less.
His mojo.
His mojo. God's mojo.
Then if you're creating a human by yourself on your own, if you're cloning somebody, let's say if that person did not have these attributes, if that person was not made in God's image but made by man, then I think that it would be immediately evident.
Evident that
you could tell right away that this person, if this person
are
did not
soulless.
have a soul, if this person did not have a soul,
yeah, they're soulless.
There would be no difference between him and, say, an animal.
Like my ex-girlfriend.
Oh. Well, Chris had a good point, but Chris had a good point.
Yeah, you haven't seen her, have you?
Okay, now on Chris's comment, though.
Without a soul?
Yeah, when he said he didn't have or the clone didn't have a soul, kind of divert from Scott's ex-girlfriend there.
Yeah.
Yeah. When Chris said that the person wouldn't have a soul, would they have like a scarlet letter written on them? So then people would automatically know?
Let me tell you this one. Let's go. Shane, Damien, and Robin. Shan and Robert. You guys keep holding. Here's a thought. I think that Dan and I had a conversation about this the other day. What's that spear called? The spear of the side of Christ? What's it called?
Oh.
Okay. Too late.
You're asking the atheist.
No. The atheist is quite informed.
Okay.
He's got angelic writing on his arm, so back off.
Hey, good for him.
That's right. All right. Look, so there's a spear that actually exists that Genghis Khan had and the Romans and Hitler had. That, and of course, the folklore, which says that if he owns, whoever controls the spear rules the world.
The scepter?
No, it's a spear that the Roman soldier struck Christ in the side. Anyways, my thought, I'm just throwing this out there. My thought is that the Antichrist could be actually a clone of Jesus Christ. If you can still in the pores of the metal, get a piece of DNA from Christ's blood and clone him. I always thought if I was going to write a screenplay, and you guys know I work in show business, if I was going to write a screenplay, that would be my screenplay, that they took some DNA from the spear, and it's plausible, and they cloned the Antichrist, which would be soulless, who eventually gets embodied by Satan himself. Let's go to Shan. Shan, you're on the Scott Conner Show.
Yes, I'm a Christian also, and I've been listening to what you've been saying. And from what I understand, you said that they have to start with a human embryo? Yeah,
that's what they're saying here. And again, I'm just going by what I've read for the last couple of hours. I've had to speedily educate myself. And what they're saying is that you have to have embryos, because you have to take the DNA from whatever you want to clone, infuse it with an embryo, and then kill that embryo's DNA and let that inserted DNA take over.
Well, it's my understanding as a born-again believer that life begins at conception, and God says he knew you before you were ever in your mother's womb.
That would be John. You're talking about the scripture in John.
We're not creating anything. We're taking what God has already created and altered it just like we do everything else.
Yeah.
And so,
Luke.
I do not agree with cloning. I think there's something kind of sick about that.
So what you're saying is that let's say, are you a mother?
Yes, I am.
Okay, boy or girl?
I have a little girl.
Okay, let's say your little girl, I don't know, gets her, she has a heart defect and she's going to die. Now, are you cool with letting her die because it is an appointed time? I believe we all have an appointed time. That when your time's up, your number's up, you cash out. You would let her go versus having, someone clone a new heart for her. I'm sorry. Hello?
To say.
I'm sorry. You're breaking up. We're gonna drop you. Call back if you're on a landline. But that's a good question. It's always easiest to and again, it's easiest to call the plays when you're an armchair quarterback. But when you're there on the ground floor and you're fighting, it's funny. I mean, what was that? What was that movie? No, it was Gene Hackman. It was Gene Hackman where they were curing cancer and they had to kill off a few people. What was that movie? They were curing cancer or something like that, and they were taking homeless people. They were killing off the homeless people, and his big line was, if you had to kill one or two people in order to save thousands, wouldn't you have to do that? And the guy who was ethical in that story, I think it was Tim Hutton, I don't know. The guy who was ethical was saying, no. But then what he did is he got this guy, he gave him a shot or something, which he thought he was being paralyzed. That's it. Fixing people who are paralyzed. That was the movie. And so the guy, they got the good guy, and they gave him an injection, and then he woke up and he was in the hospital, and he thought he was a paraplegic from the neck down. And then they said, look, if I could tell you that there's a way that you could be cured, will you take it? And his mind changed because now he's paralyzed because he's on the playing field. Yeah. Okay, let's go to Saul. Hey, Saul, you're on the Scott Connor Show.
Hi, thanks for taking my call. I just wanted to let you know a couple of different issues. There's
Sure.
two different types of actually therapeutic cloning. There is the type where they take the embryo, and first of all, where they're getting these embryos is where...
Now, you're talking about... let me ask you this real quick, Saul. And again, you may be a little bit more educated on this than I am. But what you're talking about, the skin cell thing, in my research in the last couple hours, the only article that pointed to a skin cell was this false... the guys who cloned Dolly, and they went around and said... Dolly, right? Dolly.
Yeah,
but they went around. They said that the
Dolly. But what they've done is
I had no say on my show.
Restrictions on embryonic therapeutic cloning. They've had to look elsewhere, and they found that the skin cells do work for some situations.
Okay.
But the embryo is like a blank slate that can work for all cells.
So what you're saying is that because they're going to kill the cell anyways, why not do it?
Well, I don't hear anybody complain about in vitro fertilization, whereas this cell is, and it all is one single cell, and your body loses approximately 11,000 cells every day.
Oh, that was more than that, but
this cell could absolutely totally change somebody's life. Save somebody's life literally.
Hey, Saul's making some very good points.
You're going to get a $20 gift certificate, Saul. Thank you.
Oh, thank you.
Keep holding. Billy kills like 10 million cells every time he goes out and drinking, which is like every single night.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Billy's killing cells left and right. Let's take a call.
It's not from drinking.
It's not from...
I'm with you there, Billy. I'm with you. I hear you.
Oh, man.
It's all about the smoking, huh?
It's all about... Oh, I thought it was something else.
I don't know.
I thought it was about the little Donald Trump. All right.
Plead.
Robert, you're on the Scott Connor Show.
Hi, Scott. Thank you for taking my call. I appreciate it.
Hey, man, thanks for calling.
Now, do you know...
No, I have no clue.
There are clones walking around with us right now.
There's what?
The definition of a clone is somebody who has the same identical DNA. Is that correct?
I don't know.
As you, yeah.
I just picked this topic because I got the Koreans making people, and I had this hiker, this whatever his name was.
Mike Turner.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Mike Turner, got his arm caught in this thing. Had to amputate it with a cheap Leatherman, and I just thought, let's put the two together and let's really address this issue because I don't think many people know about cloning. I don't know.
Right.
Hey, Robert, you want to hold for a second, and I'll come back to you after the break?
No, it's too long.
It's too long. All right, buddy. Thanks for calling.
All right, beat it.
Beat it. Beat it. Come on, dance with me. Beat it. No, buddy. All right, you're on the Scott Connor Show.
I'll tell you what I'd do, man. 2 chicks at the same time, man.
I'm thinking I might take that new chick from logistics. Things go well, I might be showing her my O face. Oh. You know what I'm talking about. Oh.
Oh, Billy.